Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. My name's Mike Amos, hoping that you're doing well today on a Monday of the eve of the 4th of July. And, of course, fireworks going off on Thursday. We've got a call coming in. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hi. Morning.
Call, it looks like, what, Grayton Beach, Florida? What are you doing down there, man?
I live down here, man.
Wait a minute. No way. I don't have a boy living in Florida that I know of.
Yeah, I decided to retire at the age of 43. I live down here and basically raise a 2- and a 1-year-old.
Well, are you having fun?
Me and about 100,000 more people now since the 4th of July week. It's pretty crazy down here.
As you look out the door, you see bicycles going by. What do you do?
Yeah, I tell you, it makes me want to go exercise. All these people running by my house and on bicycles, and a lot of these people like to show off. They have their baby strollers, and they're running with their baby stroller. It's pretty ridiculous.
I want to know if you, it looks like I'm glowing over here. I might need to add another cover on my show this morning. But have you put your Troy flag up yet to let everybody know you're a Troy guy?
Oh, I plan on doing that soon. I got to find the right live oak tree, and I've got to find something to put in the live oak tree. But I know I'll have them up before football season. I know that.
Well, that's a long time from here. Of course, we got a lot of sports to talk about, and of course, we are looking at the 4th of July. I look at this as the week, the 4th of July. It's been, on Monday, man, it's back to work. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's I think the last real week off that the coaches and a lot of players have. Then after that, it's all football pretty much, and then you got I think SEC Media Days starting the next week, so or maybe the next week after that. So it's definitely football season. It's that time of year.
Oh yeah, no question about it, and it's beautiful, of course. So
listen to this: all 30 NBA franchise teams have their summer league starting at the MGM Resort this summer, and so it's the summer league. Some of these guys were not drafted in the NBA draft first or second round, but they get invited to the summer leagues.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
Guess who got invited to the NBA Champion Summer League?
I've got a good idea. You played at Troy last year.
Yeah, Jordan Bernardo will be on the Toronto Raptors Summer League team.
Oh,
so
good.
Interesting to see what happens there. Of course, his career at Troy definitely didn't end the way we had hoped, due to suspension and I think an injury, suspension. So crazy ending. Of course, that was a huge factor at the time. He was only averaging 28 points a game in conference.
Boy, that was
unheard of at the time.
That was amazing. How tall is he, Mike?
I mean, you saw him play more than most, and you've seen a lot of guys play at Troy. I mean, he's a guy that was about 6'6".
I thought he would be the first pro ever from Troy.
Yeah, 6'6", about 235 pounds, and really had developed a three-point shot the last couple of years, and was already good on the low post. But I mean, he's I think the best chance Troy will ever have for a guy to play in the NBA. I don't know if he'll do it this year, but even if he goes overseas or he plays in the G League, I think you'll see him on the NBA roster one day. So I think Troy will break that streak.
What is the G League?
That's the minor leagues of NBA basketball.
All right. Now I want to sometime this morning.
Let's see, Birmingham will have the G League team, I think, starting next year for the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah. Well, that is something. Of course,
it's
now
one of those situations that were. I mean, his brother played in the NBA, Jarvis Bernardo. He was one of the greatest shot blockers of all time at Mississippi State, but he was about 6'8" and a half, but had no offensive game. Bernardo actually has an offensive game.
Yeah. Who in the heck is this guy named Nate Lastly, Mike? He wins $1.3
million. It's a really amazing story. Nick Faldo was getting choked up at the end of the round yesterday. He was a guy that played golf, I think, at Arizona. And his family, his mom and dad and girlfriend, were flying to go watch him play in a tournament in Wyoming, and were killed in a plane crash at about 13,000 feet. I think they crashed into a mountain in Wyoming. So he lost his mom, his dad, and his girlfriend, I think when he was around 21.
Oh, me.
And then bounced around from tour to tour, was selling real estate, was out of golf for several years, and then got back on, I think, last year, and was an alternate. Wasn't even was supposed to be in the field, had to play to get into the tournament.
What, this tournament?
This tournament, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a Cinderella story.
Yeah. Well,
And ended up blowing everybody else away and winning the tournament. Now he's exempt on the PGA Tour for 2 years, and
isn't that wonderful?
is going to be able to play in the Masters. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
He wins 1.34 million, and at one time yesterday he was leading by 6 strokes. He ends up winning by 6 strokes. Can you believe that? 6 strokes.
Yeah,
25
I mean, unbelievable story. Like I said, I was watching it and following it yesterday, and good for him.
Yeah, no question about it, and I'm glad to know Nick has that kind of heart. You know, anybody would trying to explain what happened to this guy. You'd think, you know, we talked about he started off with a 65 on Thursday, and Mike, he shot 73, 72, 74, and he was next to the last before it was all over with.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to believe that, I mean, at 36 years old, winning your first PGA tournament, that didn't happen very much.
Yeah, and of course a big purse too, and exemption. Boy, that exemption means everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, basically guarantees your tour card for 2 years.
Steve Stricker makes a record debut and wins the U.S. Senior Open. Stricker made the U.S. Senior Open debut, one of his one for the record books. First time he played in that event, and he wins it.
Well, I mean, you got to think that Stricker, I mean, he's a guy that's in phenomenal shape and still plays a lot on the regular tour, and he's already won the Regents Tradition this year, which they consider a Masters kind of format on the Seniors Tour. So that's the senior major, and now he's won the Senior U.S. Open, so that's 2 senior majors he's won.
Well, let me tell you about this.
When he never won one major on the regular tour.
Let me tell you something about it. You know, the seniors, they don't pay as much as the regular tour.
No, about $350,000, $400,000 for the winner.
But you know what? He won yesterday. He won $720,000.
Yeah, the major probably pays more, but the regular wins on the senior tour around $400,000.
My good friend David Toms finished second, along with Jerry Kelly. They split $350,000.
Former Troy golfer played in it, but he didn't make the cut. Ben Bates.
Ben Bates did play, and I didn't know that. How did he do?
He qualified for it. I actually read an article about it.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, we're heading toward the big event. When's it coming up, Mike? The PGA.
The PGA's already happened. We're down to one major left, the British Open.
British Open. I'm sorry about that. When is that coming up?
Not next week, but the next, I believe.
Yeah. Of course, with the 4th of July coming up.
Big news out of Tuscaloosa. Tua Tagovailoa, the great Tua, is injured a hamstring and was not able to participate in the Manning passing camp down at Nicholls State University. So Tua has already got an injury. So Alabama fans are already starting to worry.
Yeah.
Those hamstrings are hard to come back from, man.
Well, it's something that I said Friday. I said Alabama's needing a backup they can count on right now. I don't believe we got one.
I don't know. Matt Wilson really looked good to me. I know he hadn't played much in real, game activity, but I think early on with Alabama's schedule being so easy, I think there's a chance that he'll get some more and more reps, and hopefully, he'll show some good things.
You keep talking about Alabama's schedule being so easy. They play in the SEC, Mike. The SEC. Are you familiar with that conference?
Yeah. I mean, I'm familiar with that conference. I think that Alabama, defensively will be a lot better this year, and I think the real test will be, definitely the situation where you got to go on the road to Auburn, and then of course, I think LSU at home will be tough. I think A&M will be pretty tough, but other than that, I don't really see anybody else other than Georgia.
Well, I tell you what, A&M
championship game, and Georgia might not even get there. You might see Florida there instead.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this. All right, they got to go to South Carolina. I don't think they'll have any problem with them the third week. Of course, they open up with Duke, then New Mexico State. then South Carolina. Then they play Southern Miss before, right after Troy plays them. Play Southern Miss, and that's going to be at home. Ole Miss at home on the 28th, and then at Texas A&M. That's the big one right there. Then Tennessee at home, Arkansas at home, LSU at home. Boy, those 3 at home. At one time, that was 3 real good football teams, wasn't it? At Mississippi State, then they play Western Carolina on the 23rd, and then at Auburn. So, to me, it looks like A&M and LSU and Auburn will be the 3 tough games for Alabama.
Yeah. This is funny. You'll appreciate this because you were an official for a long time. The Alabama Sports Officials Hall of Fame has an inaugural class. There's 12 inductees.
Better be Scotty Sowers, it better be.
I mean, it's 12. I mean, it really is. I never even knew they did something like this. So 12 inductees into the inaugural class of Alabama Sports Officials Hall of Fame. Name some of those officials.
Mike Amos. Scotty Sowers.
You actually know some of these people pretty well.
Oh, I know it. Scotty Sowers. Robertson. Bobby Robertson.
Well, let's just start
Terry
with the first name. You know
Terry
it pretty well. His name is Paul Andrzejewski.
Andrzejewski, mate. Look. I've got that's how he used to point. You know, with those 2 fingers out in front of him.
So he is the first he's in the first class of the Officials Hall of Fame.
It's hard to believe.
His rare distinction of having a baseball sign by him on display at the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. He struck out 18 in a 6-inning game when he was 11-year-old in 1958.
Andrzejewski did.
Yeah, this is his bio. This guy called so many Troy games, it's unbelievable.
He called a game that Troy scored 258.
He officiated in high school baseball and basketball in the AHSAA. In 1970, he was a original member of the Alabama Collegiate Umpires Association.
I would have named Andrzejewski.
And officiated college baseball and college basketball, including the SEC. Officiated the U.S. Olympic Festival in 1991 in Los Angeles. Umpired an exhibition game for the New York Yankees in 1994. And listen to this, the last thing he put, the Troy University 1992 basketball game versus DeVry College that set the NCAA scoring record 258 to 141.
Yeah. that surprised a lot of people right there, didn't it? I'll tell you.
John F. Kennedy High School Athletic Hall of Fame in 1991.
I was thinking of some people down here in this neck of the woods.
Well, I mean, the next guy you know too, Ronnie Baines.
Ronnie Baines, a former Auburn great and SEC official. He was an SEC official. Bobby might be on there then, wouldn't he?
Was an on-the-field official for 14 years. In the NFL, was an SEC official from 74 to 87.
Bobby Skelton would have to be on there.
That's right, Bobby Skelton is on there. There's a guy named Armand Brown.
Armand Brown, yeah. Remember Armand Brown? Yes, sir. He was one that wore the wig, Mike. You remember that?
Yeah, he was a high school and football basketball official in the AHSSAA for 41 years.
Yeah, you remember he wore a toupee.
He worked SEC and also worked NAIA junior college ranks.
Yeah.
Let's see, Dick Burleson.
Yeah, I remember Burleson. Yeah, he was a SEC official.
Somebody named Mary Day.
I don't know her.
Ray Gorgas.
No, I don't know Gorgas, but I'll think of somebody in a minute.
This is volleyball. Apple Cardakion. What about Joe Mannion?
No, I don't remember him.
Bob Patrick.
Yeah, Bob Patrick. You know who he is? That's the old Tools uncle.
A veteran football official who came through the high school ranks. Patrick officiated in football in the SEC for 29 years and worked many major bowls, 11 senior bowls in Mobile.
That's right. And
he was pretty well known. A guy named Sam Short.
I don't remember Sam Short, but
And
Bob.
then a guy you work with and knew very well, Bobby Skelton.
Yes, sir. Knew him very well. The Bullet from Pell City. He played quarterback under Bear Bryant at Alabama.
Began officiating in Tuscaloosa while attending college. Became the top high school football, basketball, and baseball official. He worked in Huntsville, East Alabama, Montgomery Associations. Became an SEC official in 1972. Skelton worked numerous 8 bowl games.
All right, I want you to stop. I want you to stop, and let me tell you what he was famous for. He threw a flag on the Oklahoma wagon. He threw a flag on it, and from that point on, Oklahoma's they came out there in the horse and buggy, whatever, and he threw a flag on them. They were never ever allowed to come on the field again. You see if that was one of his highlights.
It's not on there, but he later worked 20 years in the NFL. He worked Super Bowl. Skelton moved off the field in 2005 and became an NFL replay official. He held that position for 6 years until he retired in 2011.
Yeah.
So that's your officials Hall of Fame, man. Maybe you'll have a chance one day at that.
I know it. You're right. Scotty Sowers should have gone in, probably. He was a well-known official. And
I mean, Scotty was the official in the SEC, wasn't he?
Yeah, at one time, years ago, yeah. He was a good official, too, no question. But Jerry, Andrew Jeske, of course, was there. And, of course, there's a lot of other guys that'll be coming in after him that are very well-known in the officiating careers.
Yeah, I had no idea they had a Hall of Fame. Maybe Andrew Jeske started it, so he'd go in.
He could. He worked a long time for the ice skating rink there in Hoover. Isn't that right, where the ice skating rink is?
Yeah, I mean, apparently he's big buddies with the folks at South Pace. I got a buddy, Blake Crow, that sees him all the time up there.
Oh, does he? And Paul Andrew Jeske.
Yeah.
Of course, there were some good ones over the years, and a lot more go in. But that is great that they're doing that. And when will that banquet be?
I don't know. I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah. Of course, we got a lot to talk about today, and of course, we say we do. We will go over the SEC's, the whole SEC today, Mike, and we're going to give everybody our expert opinion on how we think they'll do. But you're right. If this guy continues to be hurt, Alabama could be in trouble. Alabama could be in trouble. And the Alabama partisan across the way.
You hope they're just keeping him out just because it's just a little thing, and they're just, he had nothing to prove.
Yeah.
The Manning Passing Academy. I mean, all the mock drafts that have come out, Tua is a top 5 pick.
Yeah. Right off my head, I'm thinking, John Forney. These are some of the quotes of John Forney, and all you guys out there, sit back in your seats and then don't enjoy this. I haven't written anything down, and so it's going to come through my head. And believe you me, believe you me was one of his great things he would say. The Alabama partisan across the way. Alabama comes out in their red jerseys with red helmets and white trousers. Have you ever heard of a football player and the announcer says they're wearing white trousers? And in those brilliant gold helmets across the way, the Vanderbilt Commodores. He is hit and knocked down by Woodrow Lowe at the Alabama 14-yard line. Snap back, the touchdown, the kick is up. It is high enough, it is long enough, it is good, and with timeout on the field, Alabama 42, Auburn 14. You remember that?
Yeah, I do remember it, yeah. Forney was, I think they maybe brought him back when Stallings got there. They got rid of Paul Kennedy.
They did for a little while. They sure did.
Yeah, Perkins got rid of Forney.
Yeah.
And brought in his own guy.
Perkins should have been fired the day he told him to take down that coaching tower. They should have fired him then because he was going to do it. He was going to do it his way and only his way,
I know.
But
in the NBA yesterday, a lot of people consider the greatest player in basketball has left Golden State as with the Brooklyn Nets, Kevin Durant.
All right, real quick.
And then Kyrie Irving, he played with Boston, who's also a really great player, is going to play with Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And then a couple other guys are going to go play with Garnett.
Yeah.
So not Garnett, but Durant is now going to be playing in New York, so that's going to be a big market to be in.
I sure will. Mike, if I'm right, if I'm wrong, or whatever, Kevin Durant played at Texas, didn't he?
That's right.
A long time ago, at least 10 years ago. How long has he been around?
Yeah, at least. He only played 1 year at Texas.
And then he came on and went on in the pros. Is that right?
Yeah.
Kevin Durant. Give me the best 10 players to play in the NBA in the last 10 years.
In the last 10 years?
The best 10 players to play in the NBA.
I mean, 10 years is hard to. I mean,
Well, that ought to make it easy. I know the best 10 though. Who would they be?
The last 10 years, you go Kobe Bryant, LeBron James.
All right, James and Bryant.
Dwayne Wade.
Wade played for Miami.
Dirk Nowitzki with the Mavericks.
Yeah, the guy from Sweden, Ravinsky, whatever, Dravinsky.
He's German.
Where did he play his college ball?
He didn't play college ball. He came straight over from Europe.
Okay.
Kawhi Leonard, the guy that plays for the Raptors.
How long has Leonard been playing?
I think he's in about his 7th year, but he also won a championship with the Spurs. I mean, it depends what kind of guys you want to, you had Tim Duncan still playing 10 years ago.
Tim Duncan, yeah.
Consider him, a great player.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, the Lillard guy at Portland's a great player.
Well, there's still a couple more.
Scores a ton of points.
There's still a couple of more guys from Miami. You remember they dominated at one time.
James Harden, the guy that plays for the Rockets, scores 30 points a game. I mean,
where does he play? Where did he play most of his career?
He plays for the Rockets. Harden does.
Yeah. How many years has he been in?
I mean, he started out with Oklahoma City, and then has been with the Rockets for at least 4 or 5 years. I mean, there's so many great players that are great scorers. Now, as far as winning teams, the majority of the great teams,
The Magic wouldn't have been within the last 10.
You got to add Steph Curry. I mean, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Durant for sure. That's how many great players played on Golden State.
If you wanted in those years, give me a top 5.
Top 5?
Yeah, that you think were the best 5 players to play in the last 10 years in the NBA.
I mean, I'd say Kobe, LeBron, Steph Curry, and then probably I would say you got to probably put Wade in there, and then probably Nowitzki maybe. I don't know who your center would be. Your center would probably be out of that group. I'm trying to figure out who would have been the best center. Probably Duncan would have to go in 10 years.
I think he would. Duncan played his basketball at Wake Forest.
Yeah, he played for Dave Owen.
That's right, and of course, probably the guy that probably did less for what he was predicted to do was Ralph Sampson. I know he was not really the dominant player that everybody thought he'd be. What do you think?
What, 7'4"?
7'4", and he went to the University of Virginia. But I know he didn't have the pro career that he normally everybody thought he would probably have.
I think he played for Houston in the pros.
Yeah, and of course the guy that from Alabama. Name me 5 of the best players that ever came out of Alabama. Who would that start with?
The top 5 probably would be
Leon Douglas in the pros, Mule King,
Antonio
McDyess, and Sprewell, and who else? Robert Ory. What do they call him? Big Shot Bob?
Big Shot Bob or Big Shot Rob, either one.
And came out of Andalusia, Alabama.
I mean, I would have to say that was the top 5 ever. I mean, would be Sprewell, Ory, McDyess, Mule King, and Leon Douglas. Now, I thought that
T.R. Dunn played a long time. He won a great score.
Played a long time in the pros, and Askins played a long time with the Heat.
Yeah,
Keith Askins.
Yeah, Keith Askins, yeah.
And then David Benoit played a long time in the pros as well. long time in the pros, a lot of just basketball leagues, was Enos Watley, but he had a lot of drug issues, I think, when he was young.
Yeah, he's another one that was a great high school player and didn't turn out to be near the college or the pro player that everybody thought he'd be.
Well, he played in the pros for a long time. I mean, James Hollywood Robinson was a great player in Alabama, but didn't play. I mean, he was a first-round pick. I mean, Jim Farmer was a first-round pick out of Houston Academy.
Well, they really give me a pro. How did he do it in the pros? See if he can
Jim Farmer?
Yeah, Jim Farmer. Farmer played at. He played at the private school. He played at Houston Academy. Yeah.
I mean, then he had Mo Williams played in the NBA for 14 years. You know,
Did he
played
really?
on the championship team with Cleveland.
Mo Williams. I can't even remember Mo Williams.
Yeah, he was a point guard under Guthrie.
Yeah. And Guthrie and this guy.
Wimp's teams, Wimp had a lot of guys that ended up playing in the NBA.
If McDyess had not gone to the NBA early, Alabama might could have won a national championship in basketball. You remember that?
Yeah, but I want to say McDyess was there right when Wimp got fired, and then Hobbs took over. So
I know,
think that was the reason McDyess went to the pros.
I know this for a fact that Wimp did coach at least 1 year after McDyess had left, because everybody was just saying, boy, if Alabama had McDyess, they'd win a national championship. They were great that year.
Yeah, but unfortunately, they could never get past the Sweet 16.
Okay, have you got anything on my buddy from Dothan?
Oh, Jim Farmer?
Yeah.
I can look and see.
And tell us what kind of pro career.
Farmer at one time was trying to be a country music star.
Yeah, I remember that. And he and Gottfried were the backcourt
on. He was also battling, cancer. He's had a lot of health issues too.
Well, I'm sorry. Is he doing better? Do you know?
I think he is.
Of course, he played at Houston Academy. Gottfried came out of Mobile. I don't know which. I can't remember exactly which school he went to, but they were the backcourt on that Alabama team, weren't they?
Yeah, that's pretty. He played Alabama from '83 to '87. He was the 20th pick in the first round.
That was pretty good.
By the Dallas Mavericks. His playing career was from 1987 to 1997.
Gosh, I didn't realize he played that long.
Yeah,
I know this about him. He was real.
He played for the Dallas Mavericks, the Utah Jazz, some team called the Pensacola Tornadoes, Seattle Supersonics, Philadelphia 76ers.
Jim Farmer.
The Denver Nuggets, yeah.
And he played in the, okay.
And then he played overseas. He played all over the place.
I know this about him. He was real physical, and he could shoot the three. He was a big three-point shooter. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he's a professional basketball player, drafted for the Dallas Mavericks. He was 6'4", 190 pounds.
Yeah. And of course, everybody...
He only played 5 seasons in the NBA. The rest, he played in other leagues.
Everybody didn't think he would make it because he came out of that private school, that real small private school, Houston Academy. And
yeah, I mean, it's like, I guess, well, no, this guy played in the NBA for a pretty long time, too, is Pete Chilcutt, came out of Tuscaloosa Academy.
Okay, and he played at North Carolina.
Alabama, he went to North Carolina. He played in the NBA for a while.
He played out of the, to my knowledge, he might be the only one that I can remember that came out of the Alabama independent schools to make it to the pros. Is that right?
Well, I mean, back then was Houston Academy and playing public school schedule?
Yeah, they played a public school schedule, but they were 1A, in public school. But now Chilcutt played for a Tuscaloosa Academy team that won about 50-something straight, and like he said, he did.
Chilcutt was 6'9". He was a big guy.
I officiated quite a few games, state championship games at Huntington that he played in. He just dominated that league. What he was so good at in college.
I guess you got to add Buck Johnson was a pretty good Alabama player in the NBA too.
Buck Johnson was a good player, no question. And my buddy from Huntsville, the big tall guy that played at Alabama, Mike.
Bobby Lee Hurd.
Bobby Lee Hurd. How long did he play in the pros?
Yeah, I don't know if he ever played in the pros.
I would think he did. He was about 6'10". See if he did. Just check it out, if you will.
I'll look and see.
We're having fun, ladies and gentlemen, talking about whatever you want to talk about this morning. Of course,
random stuff because it's not football season.
I want to congratulate Headland winning another 12 and under state championship. Now they're going to play for the national championship. Congratulations to them. Headland beat Gordo in 9 innings yesterday to win it all. Headland listen to this. He's talking about dominating a league. It marked the 6th state championship in the last 7 years for Headland, which now advances to the World Series in Ruston, Louisiana, beginning on August the 3rd. Headland won its first 2 games of the tournament in easy fashion, 10-0 over Russell County, and then 17-3 over Gordo, and then came back in the winners bracket to beat Gordo again and advance to the state tournament. Troy will be hosting several tournaments. Troy, listen to this, Mike. Troy sent 14 teams to the tournaments, 14 teams to the reg league tournaments in the Dixie Boys, the Dixie teams, and 12 of them made it to the state tournament. 12 Troy teams have made it to the state tournament out of 14. That's pretty good, isn't it? All right, tell us about Bobby Lee Hurt.
Bobby Lee Hurt was drafted in the second round by the Warriors, but couldn't reach an agreement, so he played overseas his whole career, never played in the NBA.
Really, that's a shame, but he was a good college player. What was the best Alabama?
He averaged, as a freshman, 10 points a game. As a sophomore, 15 points a game. Then 15 a junior, and then 13 as a senior year. So he scored a lot of points.
Bobby Lee Hurt out of Huntsville, Alabama, and of course, like you said, he was a great player. Of course,
yeah, I saw where Neil Armstrong had a softball team that's going somewhere, and he was starting a GoFundMe page to raise money for his team to go up to Florence or.
Well, you know what?
They're playing. I guess they got to try to raise some money.
Yeah. The last 2.
To do a cake sale with you.
Well, we've got one tomorrow. On this show, we got a cake sale to raise money. The last 2 cake sales we've had, we've raised over $3,000. So, you know, he ought to know that, and we'd be glad to do it for him. When do they go? Do you know? Do you have an idea when they go? I don't know.
I was flipping through Facebook and I saw that they were going somewhere up to Florence or somewhere to play.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you think our traffic is bad, I want you to hear this, Mike. If you think our traffic is bad, in 2013, at one time there were 35,420 cars passing through Troy on the bypass.
Another 2013. What is it now? 6 years later.
All right. 6 years later, it is, and I'm going to tell you what it is. Another point that they did it from was George Wallace owned, and we had 32,190 came from George Wallace Drive through the Trojan Park way. That is huge, isn't it? That many people. You talk about a traffic jam. That's where a huge traffic jam.
You got to think during football season, though.
Yeah, but of course, right now, yesterday, I think it's when they did this. It was something like 38,000. Can you believe that? That is a lot of people.
How can you determine like how many are the same car coming back?
You know, they're just looking at the traffic count. You're exactly right. You don't know how many people went through there at one time or more a day. But it does interest me to know that kind of traffic count on the bypass.
I guarantee you that's how you get restaurants and gas stations and hotels and stuff like that. Those kind of numbers.
Yeah. Mayor Jason Reed says part of the planning that they're doing right now is built around this right here. But at the point midway through the intersection of 3 Ninth Street and Elba Highway, South Brundy Street, the traffic count in 2017 was an average, and listen to this, an average of 31,610 cars a day. We're talking about a day, ladies and gentlemen. That's a lot of cars. And, of course, they've done some more studies, and I think I've got what I'm trying to look for is what they found this week. Let's see.
Detroit's getting more and more national stores. They've got the Chick-fil-A now, and they got the Publix, and of course they got TJ Maxx coming soon. That's gonna be pretty huge for Troy people to have a clothing store, and TJ Maxx kind of sells a little bit of everything.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. Of course, we've got the big fireworks coming up on Thursday night, starting at dark, surrounding the area of the Veterans Memorial Stadium, all the way from Crow Hill, all the way to the to the Sorority Hill, looking for places. The practice field at Troy is a good place to park at the Trojan Arena, then walk down to the practice field, which would be fabulous place to watch the fireworks. But you folks,
yeah, we're gonna take the beach truck out on the beach here in Graydon and watch the fireworks getting shot.
That'd be a lot of fun. I ought to drive down there and come back.
They do it off the barge down here in Seaside, so we'll watch it from there.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, Dan Smith and them do a great job, and everybody needs to be in place around 8:30 with 15 to 20-minute show. That's a lot of fireworks. 20-minute fireworks is a lot of fireworks.
Yeah, that definitely is.
There's a lot of traffic.
The biggest thing about all the fireworks, you got to have somebody come clean it all up.
I'm not telling people to come, but my front yard is about as good as you can get, if you'll think about it.
Yeah, you do have a pretty good view from there.
In fact, I think my house might be the closest house to it other than the alumni house over there, that area, off of, what's my street over there?
Where the alumni house is?
Yeah,
that's Highland Avenue.
Highland Avenue, yeah. Highland Avenue would be the closest spot over there. But the Armory would be another place you could watch it. It'd be right on top of it if they let you. I don't know for sure if they let you, but the fireworks are as good as you're going to find anywhere, so don't feel like you got to go to Montgomery, Dothan, or Enterprise. You're going to have the best fireworks in the country right here. I'm going to read a little information. It's almost time for the 4th of July fireworks. Mayor Jason Reeves promises a full display on the 4th of July, Thursday night. There are many different viewing places. Of course, he's telling you, of course, one of them it would be the Lake Lagoon area, but also the softball complex at Troy University, or the places to sit there would be a great view there from that softball complex, or Charleston High School parking lot. Charleston High School, Mike, has a new practice field that is really, really nice. They had I want to tell you this. They had a 7-on-7 tournament in Troy this past week, Mike, and they had teams from all over. They even had a couple of great teams out of Dothan playing in it. You know who won? Troy. Charles Henson won the thing. They beat Park Crossing for the championship with a quarterback named with an outstanding quarterback, Mike, Mooka Jones. Is that what his name is?
I thought his name was Puka Jones.
Puka Jones. Puka Jones. That's the name of our quarterback, and he's going to be a good one. But Charles Henderson won that 7-on-7.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if they had it now. Your cousin, Brent Bedsoe, was here with a pretty good team. Spanish Ford out of Mobile, and there was Prattville was here. They had several real good teams here. I know this, that they started at about noon and they finished about almost 10 o'clock. It was that big a 7-on-7.
So where did this take place? I mean, is the stadium the new turf down yet?
Yeah, the stadium, well, I showed you a picture of the new turf on Friday, but the new turf is going on, and ladies and gentlemen.
So, I mean, where was the 7-on-7?
7-on-7 was in the practice fields.
Oh, the practice fields, okay.
Yeah. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the new stadium. Of course, you know, Veterans Memorial Stadium is getting a new carpet, whatever you want to call it, a new rug, turf. A new field turf, and it's the same field turf that several of the pro teams use.
Well, I mean, it's basically the same turf we've had before. It's just a new one.
But I like the way they colored it. They're going to color it with cardinal end zones now. They're going to bring a lot of color back. Then the big T will be in the middle, and the grass, Mike. Of course,
it's going to be shaded.
be shaded, be darker and then lighter, darker and then lighter. It's gonna be a beautiful field. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people will be getting into the stadium and taking pictures once they start laying them down.
Yeah, we do have a.
What to say about John Hartwell, man? That Power T logo and that campaign he started, that was a huge thing for Troy Athletics. Boy, it
sure
really
was. It sure was, and you're exactly right. He was smart, no question about it. We got a good one as our AD now, ladies and gentlemen, Brent Jones. And Brent,
he's real active on social media. You hear a lot of stuff, a lot of articles and stuff like that. So he's out and about promoting the program, which is a good thing.
Let us know about some of those things that are going on. Of course, I've got my big party coming up for you guys that love the old music. It's going to be at the Troy Country Club on the 26th and 27th of July.
Our pediatrician lives next to us in Grayton, and he grew up in Troy. His name's Jay Wiley.
Yes, sir.
He was going on and on about how he had a great time in Troy for the 1979 class reunion. He went to.
Oh, yeah, and I didn't see him. I didn't get to talk to him. I crashed that reunion.
Oh, yeah, he was there.
So there it is. That's the field. Look, you can't see it, Mike, but everybody else can now. Ladies and gentlemen, you see the lighter grass and the darker grass, and that's beautiful. And the end zones are just like they look there. They're going to have a Cardinal with Troy on the north end and Trojans on the south end. Then the big Power T. I appreciate you doing that, Steve, bringing that to everybody's attention. But that's the look, the new look at Veterans Memorial Stadium. I think everybody likes it. And also those cross. They've got some cross swords out there too. It's the name of the stadium is Veterans Stadium, Larry Blakeney Field, and it'll be that way forever. Unless somebody comes and gives them $100 million, then they might do something about it then.
Well, I mean, the name of the stadium has changed a lot over the years. I mean, you had, I guess, Movie Gallery Stadium. Was it Scrushy Stadium or Scrushy Field? Maybe it was Scrushy.
No, it was. You're right, Scrushy Field. And we appreciated what Mr.
Movie Gallery
did.
Stadium, for sure.
We did appreciate what Mr. Scrushy did, though.
I mean, it's the Robert Hawkins press box as well, isn't it?
Douglas Hawkins,
yeah.
Press box, and he helped us get the money years ago. But then they tore that down and built a new press box. So Troy Stadium is one of the top mid-level stadiums in the country. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think now since the end zone expansion, the new locker rooms, the weight room facilities, of course, the seating did not add a whole lot. But I mean, it's extremely nice the way they did it. Then they do the tents up there, which are kind of like boxes that people can rent out for games and stuff like that. But yeah, it looks great since they've been closed it.
No question about it. And of course,
the only stadium I can even compare it to is, in the Sun Belt.
Middle Tennessee.
I mean, I remember, that. Well, I guess they're not even in the Sun Belt anymore. Middle Tennessee Stadium was pretty nice. I remember in the Sun Belt. Arkansas State's was never that nice. It had a lot of seats.
Well, real tall, real high seats. You remember that?
Yeah, Georgia Southern. I don't know if I think Troy's definitely better than Georgia Southern's.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Coastal Carolina. I'm trying to think of other teams. I've never been to Lafayette. I don't think their stadium's that nice.
Well, I've been to Lafayette. It's a big stadium. I think it holds close to 40,000. Do you remember?
Louisiana Monroe is awful. One of the worst stadiums I've ever been to.
All right, but you're right. But let me tell you something about Louisiana Lafayette. Do you know at one time the University of Alabama played in that stadium?
Under Stallings went to Lafayette and played. Isn't that unbelievable?
That's right. They had a former LSU player that was a coach there.
I remember that game. It was on pay-per-view. I remember watching it.
That's right. And they played the game at Lafayette. And Alabama didn't blow them away, I don't think.
That is a good question. I've never been to Appalachian State, actually, but they always look like they have a pretty cool stadium up there in the mountains.
They do, and it like you said, it's all, sort of squished in there.
Alabama's building a brand new stadium. There's going to be 26,000 seats.
And I can't understand why they don't have more seats there in Mobile. To me, this is going to help their program a lot. It really will.
Coastal Carolina, you said, was nice, but I think it's still small.
Yeah. Coastal Carolina, still needs some addition.
Georgia State plays in the old Turner Field, which got converted into a football stadium, so I'm sure that's pretty nice.
It is, and I'll tell you this: the stadium in Carolina is going to be real nice when they complete it. And then they've got the bowl game not this year but next year there, so that's going to enhance the growth of that stadium. So hopefully they've got some big plans for their.
I don't know about Southwest Texas State. I've never been out there either, so I don't know what their facilities are like.
The 6 and under boys will be playing here in Troy in the state tournament. The 6 and under state tournament will be right here in Troy. So that's 6 and under, yes, the 6-year-olds and under. A lot of people wonder and said, "Do you mean y'all have tournament baseball for kids that are 6 and under?" Yes, and they play pretty good. It's a coach pitch league. Here we go. Here, the 6 and under state championship returns home for the South State tournament beginning on July the 5th. So Friday, this coming Friday, will be the start of the 6 and under state tournament here at the Sportsplex. And Troy will also join 13 other teams, listen to this, Mike, including Clanton, Dadeville. Let's see, I've got it right here. I'm going to flip back over here a minute. I do have to read it, yes. Thanks for the Sunday Messenger. But Montgomery, American, Abbeville, Ashford, Montgomery Southeastern, Enterprise, Prattville, Taylor, Rehoboth, good program, Millbrook, Smith Station, Eufaula, and neglected the Troy Ozone State Championships, and that is your 12 and under, or 11 and 12-year-old group. The Dixie Boys 15 and under will play in the World Series, Mike, starting July the 18th at Sterlington, Louisiana. So out of 14 teams, ladies and gentlemen, to go to the state tournaments, or to go to the Dixie Boys tournaments, 12 of them are going to the state tournament. 11 of them are going to the state tournament, and 1 going to World Series.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
So Troy Rec ball led by Dan Smith.
That didn't count like the ozone leagues, or is the ozone?
Yeah.
I don't know how it works,
yeah. The ozone leagues are very important. Let me explain ozone to you. And I think it's the best move that's ever been made for that age group kid. All right, the ozones are kids from 9 to 10 and 11 to 12. All right, what they did, they took the girls' softball mound and added a pitcher's mound, and they moved the bases back, I think, to 50, I want to say 58 feet, something like that, the bases. And then they moved the fences to 200 feet. And then what they did was they allowed the base runners to play off the base. You remember in Little League, for all those years, you couldn't play off the base until after the ball was pitched. You remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. All
right. Well, now they play it just like real baseball. And I look like I got a beard. I don't know if it looks like that to you out there, but it's real baseball. I mean, you can play off. The pitcher pitches from the stretch. We're talking about 11 and 12-year-olds. And then the 13 and 14-year-olds the same way with ozone, being able to play off and whatever. Well, the Dixie Boys, the 13, 14-year-old had been beat over. What it changed, though, was the old Little League group, the 7 and 11 and 12-year-old group. It plays ozone, and the 9 and 10-year-old plays ozone, rookies.
Yeah, so, I was looking at the fields down in near Pier Park in Panama City Beach, and I was telling my wife the other day, we're driving down there, going to Target and coming back, and they're building a hotel on one side of the fields to the left, and then they're building another hotel to the right. I mean, they're doing all they can to get as many people to come, throughout the Southeast, come down there and play in tournaments and stuff.
Oh, yeah, it'd be an exciting thing. Of course, travel ball is so big, and, we've had several travel balls.
I mean, seriously, like, the Sportsplex really needs to consider if they, like, one day want to put, like, a big dorm out there for kids to stay in while they're playing in tournaments.
Yeah. And also, Mike, travel ball is so big, and a lot of these schools a lot of these teams are travel ball teams that go in there and play for a week, and of course the parents have to foot the bill, but it's a lot of fun. They can always say they took them down there, and thousands of kids go down there to play. They're doing the same thing with soccer down there too. They're building a bunch of soccer fields, and they're gonna have a bunch of soccer tournaments down there too.
And then you got people like James Andrews, who's one of the greatest orthopedic surgeons probably in the world, and he keeps on trying to explain how these kids are pitching too much and playing too much, and trying to warn parents, about all these Tommy John injuries and all these. You're starting to see injuries to 12 and 13-year-olds, from pitching injuries.
Oh, yeah.
It's just kind of, when are you going to shut it down? When are you going to let these kids be kids? But I don't know, man. These parents, I guess, are looking for college scholarships and want these kids to play as much as they can to get looked at, I guess.
Okay, it's orientation today at Troy. Ladies and gentlemen, hundreds of parents will be here with their kids getting ready to go to school at Troy. This is
orientation of the 4th of July week. That's kind of interesting. A lot of people take the whole week off for the 4th.
It's the 5th orientation. They have to get it in while they have to do that. I think they have 8 of them, and this will be their 5th. I don't know how large it'll be, but they will have an orientation today.
So what is Troy's actual? I mean, I know you got graduate. I know you got you got, I guess, your graduate courses, and then of course you got your undergraduate. I mean, what is the total enrollment on campus now? Is it close to 10,000, or is it more like 8,000?
More like 8,000 on campus now, but now we have campuses in Montgomery.
Your commuters?
Yeah. I will tell you this, we've got campuses in Montgomery with over 1,000 students, in Phoenix City with about 1,500 or more, and then maybe as many as 3,000.
City's got more than Montgomery?
We might have as many as 3,000 in Dothan, but and you got to think about online. You count those students too, Well,
you got to think, internationally as well. That's where Troy's got a lot as well, and then the military bases. So, I mean, I know overall it's like around 33,000, isn't it?
Well, it's not quite that much now, but you know why, don't you? Because Alabama and Auburn's gotten involved in distance learning. But I think the last count was. I think the last count was about 26,000. I need to get Buddy to come on one day and tell us about it. But a lot of people still are going to school at Troy University, either on campus or through the internet.
Well, I mean, I read the other day the smallest town for Division I athletics and college football is Troy, Appalachian State, and Army.
Yeah, you would think that Troy you would think Boone, North Carolina would be bigger than Troy, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, mountain communities now, not really.
Yeah. So it's Troy now.
I think, what is it, 3,500 feet up in the air, up in Boone, just on campus?
Yeah, Troy, the city of Troy's population is right at 20,000 now. It's grown quite a bit within the last 10 years.
Shoot, I remember when I was in college at Troy from 94 to 99, what was it, probably less than 4,000 students, and then the population of Troy is probably 13,000.
Right. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with more of Today in L.A.
Troy Cable Security makes it easy to stay aware and stay in control of your home wherever you are. User-friendly interface allows easy navigation for lights, locks thermostat, video, and garage doors. Never worry about leaving your garage door open or the front door unlocked. Your mobile app can send alerts to your phone for alarm and no alarm events. Know when your children arrive home from school with video response. Make sure your home is powered by Troy Cable Security for ultimate access, awareness, and protection.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Hey folks, are you tired of spending hard-earned money on a gas grill only to have it burn up in less than 2 years? Not to mention burning your food. Here at Southern Grill and Patio in Troy, Alabama, we carry the Holland Grill line. They've been around since 1988, and there are people right here in Troy that have had theirs for over 20 years. These grills are guaranteed not to flare up. You can grill, steam, or smoke on your new Holland Grill today. Come see us at Southern Grill and Patio in Troy, Alabama, inside Town and Country Flooring Center.
Do you want a good truck driving job? Do you want to drive for the best? Then drive for Wiley Sanders Truck Line. We have good benefits. We have good home time. We have Blue Cross Blue Shield. We match your 401k up to 4%. You can start in the 401k retirement plan after 30 days of employment. You need to drive for Wiley Sanders Truck Line. It's time for you to think about you and your family's future. Wiley Sanders Truck Line. $1,000 sign-on bonus? These guys did.
About Trump. Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by some great sponsors, the Withington Group. Remember, you're in big hands with Allstate Insurance.
Is it big hands or good hands?
Good hands. Big hands or good hands. Good hands with Allstate. See Perry Green at the Withington Group today. And, of course, Johnny, a good friend of mine. And, of course, Quality Roofing, Jeff, and all the great folks down in Goshen are the best roofers in this part of the country. Write that down if you need roofing work done. Also, Hook's Barbecue. I had lunch at Hook's, Mike, on Sunday, and you know what I had?
The ribs?
No. You get 3 choices.
The smoked chicken?
Yes. And they give you a whole half of chicken, and I had baked beans and French fries, and I had a couple of pieces of that wonderful pound cake. They have delicious barbecue, and that barbecue chicken is great. Mike, what do you think about Donald Trump?
It is one of my favorites.
What do you think about Donald Trump walking across the North Korean demilitarized zone and meeting up with the your buddy from North Korea,
Kim Jong-un?
the Korean leader, Kim Jong, yeah,
I mean, it's historic. I mean, it's kind of crazy that he would do that. Just like he basically posted something on Twitter that he would like to do it, and then I guess security had to scramble and make sure everything was safe to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, what he basically did, he was at the border of South Korea and North Korea, where your daughter, actually Rebecca Amos, would be a great person to talk to about this. She was with EWTN, the Global Catholic Television station out of Birmingham, and they actually just got back not too long ago interviewing Catholics in South Korea, and she actually went where Trump met Kim to shake his hand in North Korea. She was actually there with cameras taking pictures of the actual North Korean soldiers on the border. It's like a big area where, basically you got South Korea on one side, North Korea on the other side, military on each side. And that's kind of where it all happened with Trump. That's where he went. Basically, he just walked over to South Korea.
Usually, if you don't tell somebody you're going to do something, the security is not as
Yeah, apparently Kim's health was an issue, according to Tucker Carlson, the Fox correspondent. It was actually the one doing the camera work, who's actually a big-time announcer.
Yeah,
he was on the trip with Trump, and he mentioned that Kim's health seemed really bad, like he had emphysema almost.
Oh, boy.
But it's a situation where, Trump does things, his way, and of course, some people hate him, some people love him, but it's one of those type of things, you're dealing with a dictator that's, been ruthless and, killed several people and has got nuclear weapons. So, in my opinion, if he's got any kind of relationship with this guy, it's better for us.
I could see him.
I would rather, if he's a crazy person, I'd rather at least have some kind of relationship with him until hopefully that, he's not going to,
to tell you, this is not to take up for him at all, but he is a ball fan. You know who his best friend is, don't you?
His best friend is Dennis Rodman, of all people.
Dennis Rodman's
bizarre things
Dennis Rodman can come and go anytime he pleases. I wouldn't doubt if we didn't have an NBA basketball game.
A group of former NBA players over there to play several basketball games in front of their people.
Which I think is good, because at least he's got a life. He's got a regular life. He likes sports and all that. Maybe he can start looking at life differently. That hey,
Trump has definitely gone out of his way though to try to build some kind of relationship. I mean, this is probably the third time they met since he's been president.
Yeah.
And before this, nobody's ever met him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was a.
I don't know. I mean, Trump's got a good relationship with Putin of Russia. I mean, in my opinion, it's good to at least have.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I'd rather be friends than enemies.
Who knows what they're going to be like? If you feel like they feel like that you don't care about them or you think they're worthless, that's when you got to worry about them doing something crazy.
Yeah. Want to mention Sandra's Truck Lines today, and they've got a big promotion going on about it.
Yeah, I hear their commercials. I listen to 96.9, this old school country music station out in Dothan, and they advertise Sanders trucking like I've never heard before. They must have a good contract with Sanders Lead.
They might, and of course they've got a wonderful truck lines with a lot of amenities that you can make a career out of driving a truck. And if truck driving's changed now, Mike, they offer a lot of opportunities for someone to make a career out of driving a truck. And of course,
especially automatic transmission.
Exactly,
that makes the game for everybody. I mean, that's a lot easier to drive a truck like that than drive a stick. Trust me.
You're exactly right. Mike can tell a story that very few people can.
I still am glad I'm alive from my driving and my truck experience.
Listen,
Oregon and Washington State. I was stuck on mountain ranges and then had traffic behind me
and you had to let out on the clutch. You had to let out on your clutch to get going. Is that right?
Yeah, man. I still think about those days. We were watching a show in Portland, Oregon last night, and that's where I was stationed out of.
And you had never driven a standard.
It was crazy to think about that. I did that for about 6 months of my life.
Before you took that job, you had never driven a standard shift. And a lot of people, there are thousands and thousands of people out there, young people especially, don't know how to drive a straight shift.
A lot easier than a little car.
What now?
A big truck like that was a lot easier than trying to drive a little car with a stick.
But and of course you had to let that clutch out, and you'd be on a hillside. I bet that was a nightmare to you that you had to stop on a hillside.
Yeah, sometimes stuck at lights.
But with the car right behind you, what would make it rough?
Yeah, because you always went back before you went forward.
Exactly. How many clutches did you have to replace? Do you remember?
Actually, only one, and that truck had been out there for several years, so I was actually pretty happy about that.
But that was funny, and of course, a lot of kids down. I don't know. I don't know if these boys in here know how to drive a straight stick.
I drove that truck one day up 8,000 feet to Mount Hood to a ski resort to get some hats and T-shirts.
Oh boy, isn't that something? That's quite a story, no question about it. We're having fun. It's on the Monday before the Tuesday, before the Wednesday of the 4th of July, and big fireworks will be going on. We anticipate around 8:30. As it gets late, around 8:30. As soon as those clouds get dark, the fireworks will take place. Find a place where you can carry a little grill and cook some hot dogs and have some some chairs and tables and have a little picnic and a lot of fun. There'll be a lot of other Trojans out there, and find you a good spot. It'll be fun, no question.
It's one of those things where it's just good for the community. It's good for the students. It's great that they've always done that. Troy had a huge fireworks show.
No question. One of the big problems, and this is sort of fun, it's sort of a jokingly, but they have a real problem out on Highway 231 when the fireworks start. All that traffic wants to see the fireworks. They look over the right, and there are all these beautiful fireworks. And a lot of people will just pull off the side of the road, and you can ride down there almost to Brundage, and there'll be people on the side of the road looking at the fireworks. It's really amazing. So
let me call you right back.
So they actually have the Highway Patrol and have to make sure that they don't run into some traffic problems. But the fireworks can be easily seen from the bypass, so you have a little bit of a problem there. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with more of Today in L.A.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
I love my job. We get to help people who are having the worst day of their life.
You just got to be ready for whatever hits.
She wasn't breathing. She was almost dead.
Stay still there. Stay still. It's fine.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Tori Dunn from Dixie Trails. You get your truck washed here?
I sure did.
Millie Johnson. I know you're not bringing them cow trucks, okay?
I do, and they're like me when I leave.
Loretta, what are you doing?
Getting my car detailed.
At Trojan Detail, we do it all.
And then you know what I did? Back to our show, and my good friend of mine just stopped by, and that's what I like. I like folks that just drop in. The Reverend Mac Lowry, my preacher, is here, and I'm proud of him and proud of the worship program that we have right now at Calvary Baptist Church on Orange Street in Troy. It was a church, Mac Lowry, that I grew up in. When I was growing up, we remembered, here comes some water and some coffee. Bring us up. You want some coffee here?
I think not.
This is laid back. Now, you already had a cup or two, I'm sure. Yeah. But I can tell you a quick story about Calvary Baptist Church. When I was a little boy, my mother said, get up. We got to go to church. And my daddy worked at night. My mother didn't drive, so we walked to First Baptist Church for years, for several years. My mama always used this slogan. I said, Mama, it's late. They've already started. It's better late than never. But we would walk to the church, and then Brother Brown over at Southside Baptist Church, which is located right up the street from us here, and he had they started a mission at Calvary, and several people, Mr. Turner and Mr. Beck and Mr. Bassett, and the Bassetts were involved. There were several people in the neighborhood got involved. Started off in an old house, I remember that, in one room. Then we got bigger, and then we knocked out a wall in another room, and finally had 3 or 4 rooms, walls knocked out, and we met a house there.
All right.
And several of my friends, Freddie Bassett and Mike Peacock and Lanier Little and Bobby Archer and Kenny Archer and all these, we started going to church there, and then they said, hey, it's time now to build a new, sanctuary. And they built a nice sanctuary, and the first preacher was McIntosh, I want to say.
I remember him.
Gene McIntosh, and of course that church at one time had 300 members, or something like that. And but so what I'm saying, it grew and grew, and that's where I started going to church. And of course later on, as an adult, when I got married, we went over. We had to do the keep up with the Joneses, so we moved back. My wife was a member of First Baptist, so I went back to First Baptist, and I stayed away for a while until I was sitting there one day and listening to that beautiful choir. They've got a fabulous music program at First Baptist Church, and a beautiful church with all the beautiful stained glass mirrors and in that church, and big, strong, beautiful, old, historic church. And I sat there and I started saying to myself, I said, that preacher really doesn't even know me.
Oh my!
I said, if I walk up to him and introduce myself, that's what I'm gonna have to do, because he wasn't the type guy to walk over and stick his hand out and say, hey man, good to see you, glad you're in church, glad that you're in church today. Well, one thing led to another thing. I said to myself, I said, you know, I need to go somewhere where I can be a difference, or I can, you know, make, you know, do some things to help the Lord in His works. And I said, I'm gonna go back to Calvary. I went back to some kind of special Sunday with Reverend Bush.
Dr. Bush, right.
And of course, you know, he was not well and he was sick, and but I sort of got a little excited about the church through Dr. Bush. But then, you know, he dies and you take over, and we sort of hit the ground running together.
Right.
And I went back to Calvary and have enjoyed it immensely ever since, and especially you as my preacher.
Well, I appreciate
the Reverend Mac Lowry.
All right.
And tell us about your background and how you got to Calvary.
Well, you know, it wasn't a very long trip.
Right? That's right.
From Spring Hill to Troy, you know, that's about 8 miles.
Exactly.
But there was a lot of stops along the way.
But you're well known in Troy, though, you know.
Right. I was actually supposed to be retired, but the people at Mount Moriah encouraged me to come and be their pastor, and I was there for 10 years, and then...
And Mount Moriah is located...
That's right above Troy, just off 231.
And who's the preacher there now?
They just called a new young man, and I don't recall his name.
But is it right off Highway 231?
Right,
Okay.
Right. And then...
10 years you were there.
Right, and then Dr. Bush called and asked if I would be interested in becoming the pastor at Calvary, and he explained the situation, and I was just delighted to have the opportunity.
A wonderful man that's hard to say no to.
Absolutely, absolutely. He called me and said, Juanita and I don't want to do this anymore, so I want to know if you'd be interested in, and of course, you know, this is my second stint at Calvary.
Sure.
I was there one time and then left, and this was a second.
Of course, you were my mother's preacher.
Right.
Yeah.
But when I came back, I knew two people, Miss Eleanor and Miss Laura.
That's right. And
everybody else was new.
Two of the most wonderful people I think I've ever known.
And so this has been a real, this last 4.5 years has been really, really wonderful, Mike, and having people like yourself and Dee Dee Carter come back into the church.
That's right.
It's really been exciting and been really good. And while we're not a huge congregation, we sure get a lot of things done, you know.
And I'll tell you something else about it that keeps me there is the love of the church, the love of the people.
Yes.
I mean, it might not be but 35, 40 people on the Sunday, but every one of those people love you. And then at the end of the service, we have fellowship, and we talk about different things that we can do to make the church better. And it's a beautiful church. Still, the sanctuary holds, what, 300 people?
Absolutely. But, you know, one good thing about that fellowship after the church, we know when you come, we're going to have fresh donuts.
You're right. You're going to have fresh donuts. Sometimes I wonder whether or not it's me that they're glad to see or the donuts.
Well, you know, one time you brought one of those cakes you're talking about.
Oh,
from,
wonderful one.
From
Miss oh gosh.
Hooks.
Yeah, well,
the Hooks.
That pound cake.
Right,
But also,
and there was another lady that would bake the cake.
Miss Tang cream cake in the world, and she is just a wonderful, wonderful lady too, and makes the best Italian cream cake. And of course, we have had some great fellowship and everything, but one of the things that really attracted me the longer I started going there is the oneness. You know, everybody talks about oneness. Well, I really believe that church has the great oneness that it takes to be a great house of God.
I agree. The people that's there are just genuine, and like you say, they love one another, and that expresses itself in the many things we're able to do as a smaller congregation. I guess it's a marvelous way for an older pastor to serve out his years, you know. You get to concentrate on things that really matter, and that's the people.
But one thing that's very important, when you get Mac, you get his wife, Jerry, and there goes the rest. That's the rest of the story. She provides all the music, has a wonderful voice. She's a wonderful lady, precious lady that you married, and you know, y'all are a good team.
Yeah, I had to go all the way to Smith Station, Alabama.
Smith Station, they call it Smith, don't they?
Well, there was a time they did, but I think they've gotten back to adding Smith Station now.
I wrote a letter. Of course, we're putting on this big rock and roll reunion on the 26th and 27th of July. And one of the people that come every year, I wrote him a letter this week, was Dr. Rod Beck.
Okay, yeah, Rod. He and I graduated from high school together.
Well, he's from Smith, Alabama. Of course, he's a medical doctor in Phoenix City. You know, been that way. I think he still practices medicine. You know.
I don't know. When I was in Phoenix City, I knew Rod. He had a real big practice when I was in Phoenix City. But now I don't know if he's like you and I cut back some. Probably has at his age, you know.
Okay, let's go back to Calvary now. You were at Calvary in what year, and then you preached, and then you came back to Calvary.
I think
at the request of a man that it's hard to say no to.
Right. I think it was '96 when I first went, and stayed until about 2004, somewhere in there.
Exactly. I think. Well, we have a great congregation there, and most every week I talk about going to Calvary and being able to not only worship God, but to do service to the Lord. We all should be very conscious of loving Him and reading the Bible and learning more about Him, and at the same time, He loves us, and we're much better people because of the ministry at Calvary.
Well, that's good. We really have enjoyed it, and we appreciate the opportunity of serving on. I pray this little prayer that I learned a long time ago: Lord, keep me alive for as long as I live. And so He's doing that, and I have a responsibility in that. So I'm just happy to have the opportunity to serve at Calvary and to keep alive, you know. So
well, my mother went there for so many years, was a devout member of that church for many years, and she painted a mural on it when they first built that church. They had the baptistry back there, where we used to watch people get baptized. And a lot of good friends, a lot of people in Troy, Alabama were baptized right there at Calvary. But she painted that mural, and it's still on the wall. And that just makes me feel closer and closer to her, and I think of her so much and what Calvary meant to her. But I tell you what, anybody out there that's looking for a wonderful place to worship with great people is Calvary. And if you're looking for a place to worship, starts at 10 o'clock every Sunday morning and ends at 11, and then we have fellowship with each other, and then we go our merry way. But it is a wonderful place to worship, wonderful people. And if you're looking for that place where you can serve the Lord and be a strong supporter of God's Word, it's the place to go. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's the place to go. It's not as pretty. It's not as pretty as the First Baptist Church. It's not as historic, and I love that church, don't get me wrong. Not as historic, doesn't have near the music, but hey, I tell you what, old Jerry can sure sing really good, your wife.
Yeah,
What happened to you, man?
It's good to think that I taught her everything she knows, when Dee Dee and Elaine went to decorate the church.
Good morning.
Hi, it's Carmack.
I've got the Reverend Mac Lowry on the phone, Mike, pastor of Calvary Baptist Church in Troy.
Oh, how's Miss Lowry doing?
Doing well. Of course, you know all his boys now. You know Carmi, and tell them all those boys you know.
Well, Carmi, Wally, and then I grew up with Chris.
Chris? Yeah. Chris was getting ready to
Played
retire
football
from the
with
fire
Chris,
department.
did you? Can you believe it says that Chris is getting ready to retire from the fire department? I reckon what he's going to do after that.
We're celebrating I think our 25th, 25 years after graduating. Yeah, so that makes sense.
When will that be? Y'all going to have a reunion?
I don't know what the plan is on that. I know we're definitely a lot older. Yeah, that's 25 years. That's
Well,
all I can think about. I've got a 2 and a 1-year-old.
Yeah, Chris is going to retire and count his money, Mike.
Yeah, well, I think Chris is a guy that does a lot more than just that. So he's always got a lot going on.
Yes, sir. He's smart. No question about it. And of course, those 3 boys.
He still got his pallet business.
Thank God, no.
You had to work. You had to help him out, son. Yeah.
Yes.
Of course,
Yes.
you got Carmi and Wally. Now, and you forgot to mention Wally. Wally, the movie star.
The Alabama Officiating Hall of Fame. I'm sure Mr. Lowry could name some officials he probably thinks should be in that Alabama Hall of Fame officiating class.
Yeah. On down the line, Terry Jenwright's going to need to do that. But Scotty should have been there, no question.
Well, he was.
I know, but this is a new one they started.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the first annual.
And Scotty will probably be in the next time at least, wouldn't you think?
If they can do it
taught me and you how to
posthumously,
officiate, didn't he?
absolutely. Scotty was just, he was just out there. He was the most unusual person, and yes, he had a tremendous influence.
Yeah. And let me
on
tell you
the
this.
officiating in this area.
And he not only was an official, like he always told me, he said, Mike, if I can't be a fisherman of youth, men, I want to be a fisherman of youth. That's what he always told me.
Yes.
But he led by example, and he was a great Christian influence on all the officials. Scotty, you didn't start any kind of meeting until you prayed.
That's true.
He enhanced your ministry, didn't you?
Amen. Absolutely. And, the first time I ever met Scotty, I forget who introduced me. He stuck out his hand and said, Reverend Lowry, I want you to shake the hand that shook the hand of Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth, and he did. He said that so many times. And Babe Ruth played at Crampton Bowl one time, Mike. They used to play baseball at Crampton Bowl. Babe Ruth played at an exhibition there, and Scotty was a young man and shook his hand.
Yeah, right.
So where was Scotty actually from? Was he from up north?
Yeah, he's from up north.
In the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah,
he was a coal miner.
Yeah. What a wonderful guy.
The crazy thing with Scotty is that when you get to the plate, he start talking to you while you're hitting.
Yeah.
In the batter's box, he'd carry on the conversation with you. Then when you got to first base or third base, he'd also talk to you for a long time. So you sometimes got distracted.
Exactly. You're on today in L.A. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Mike Amos. How you doing, buddy?
Doing real good. We're on the air on Facebook across the nation. Is this Jack? How you doing, buddy?
This is Jack Morrison from Gatesville, Texas.
From Gatesville. I thought it was a different name.
No,
From Gatesville, Texas. And Jack's here. One of my closest friends on this earth is Jack Morrison. And, of course, he grew up in Montgomery, Alabama, and graduated at Auburn and ended up out in Texas working for a little old bitty company. What was the name of that little old company you worked for?
Johnson & Johnson, buddy.
Johnson & Johnson, and that's a pretty big company.
Yep.
And of course, retired with that company, and I've been out in Texas ever since. When I was shaving this morning, Jack, how you start thinking about things when you're shaving. Like Nick Severa, he said watching this show as he shaves every morning. Well, I was thinking about you. You never lived anywhere but Texas after you left Auburn. Is that right?
That's true. As much as we love Troy and Montgomery and Auburn and things like that, your jobs and your kids and then your grandkids come along.
That's right.
And before you know it, 50 years have passed.
Yeah. And of course, but you know what? You educated your boys at Auburn, though, didn't you?
One of them did. The youngest boy graduated from there. He's working.
Oh, the other one went to A&M, didn't he?
No, went to the Naval Academy.
Oh, Naval Academy. Bless his heart. He went to the Naval Academy. Was he on the ship?
No, when he graduated, he took a lateral transfer to the Air Force, and he spent his 6 years and got out, and now he works for Eaton Industries in Houston. So
yeah, I got you.
So everybody's in Texas, so I just have to try to get over here when I can. Unfortunately, you know, this time we had to come over for a funeral of a dear friend,
Yeah, go ahead.
Marshall, which you know.
Doug Odie Marshall, and you folks from Ozark watching this morning, that funeral is today at 3 o'clock, isn't it, Jack?
Yes, it is. 3 o'clock, and we'll be there, won't we?
Oh, yeah, visitation will be before that, and, of course, we do remember and love Odie Marshall so much. My preacher is sitting next to me right now, Jack, the Reverend Mac Lowry, and this is one of the closest friends on this earth. But now his religion back then was Church of Christ. I think you go to a Baptist church now, don't you? Is that right?
Mike, I live about 200 feet behind King Baptist Church.
King Baptist Church, and what's the name of the little community?
It's King. Of course, we have a Gatesville zip code, but
yeah.
The little community, like so many places, just about dried up. Used to have a school and a post office there, but it's pretty much King Baptist Church and a cemetery now.
Quickly, tell us some of the places you've lived since you've been out in Texas.
Oh, we lived in Sherman, Texas. We lived in El Paso, Texas.
How'd you like El Paso? You live right there on the Mexican border, didn't you?
I lived there. I was in El Paso 10 years, and I traveled over to Juarez. I managed some plants in Juarez also, and I went over there for 6 years.
All right, let me...
I loved El Paso. I loved working in Mexico. I loved the Mexican people. It was a great tour. I just hate to see what's happened to that area now. It's not the same place it was in 1990 when I went there.
Would you do it again?
I would go there and work again. Under the circumstances that we worked then, I don't think I would go down there now.
Of course, Johnson & Johnson. Is that Johnson & Johnson's main headquarters, or just part of course, Johnson & Johnson, one of the biggest companies in the world, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. No, it's, I was in a medical products company, but our headquarters is in New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Oh, I got you. Now you flew helicopters in the Army, and you, of course, went to Vietnam. How long were you in Vietnam?
I spent almost a year there with the 101st flying Cobra gunships up in the northern part on the DMZ. In fact, Mike, I was at the same base that our good friend Sonny Williford was at. He was a Marine, and the 101st replaced the Marines in that area.
Did you actually see him, or did you just find out later he was there?
No, I found out later he was there. I had known who he was with, and I knew what bases he was on, and on one of my trips to Troy years later, I was able to confirm.
And tell people it was a lot of war. He was right in the middle of a lot of war, wasn't he?
He was right on the DMZ. I doubt if there were many days that Sonny and them did not get rocketed up where he was. That was probably the hottest spot in Vietnam.
Of course, you grew up with Sonny and KT Cole, and both of them were Marines in Vietnam. It's good to hear from you this morning, and of course, Jack Morrison, one of my dear friends on this earth, is he's one of these guys that I've designated to carry me to my grave one day. That's your closest friends, you know.
Absolutely.
They can still do it. They can still carry something, you know.
Well, we're not sure who's going to carry who yet.
I know it. Well, I tell you what, it's going to be great to see you, and we appreciate you so much, and I'll be back in touch with you soon here.
Well, call me as soon as you can when you get off. I got a few things I need to cover with you, buddy.
All right, will do. I'll call you as soon as...
Hey, thanks for having me on. Great show.
All right, take care, buddy.
All right, bye now.
And, of course, that's Jack Morrison, one of the true great Americans of all time, as far as I'm concerned. And, of course, Mac Lowry, anytime you're in the neighborhood, we'd love for you to drop by.
Well, I'll start doing that, Mike.
And of course, right here in Troy, Alabama, this has been your home now for how many years?
Well, of course,
you raised your boys pretty much
Spring Hill, and then, of course, traveling. I think in '81 we came back to Troy, and we've been here ever since.
And now, did you ever play baseball for Spring Hill?
Oh, good gracious! Spring Hill School, and
you ever bat against Olin Rush?
Oh yes, two different cow pasture teams I played on.
Yeah.
I played with Olin and I played against Olin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you either it was either you won the game or won the fight. Is that right?
It usually went that way. Right.
I have fun talking to people from Spring Hill, a great place, and I know that's where you came from, and of course you raised your boys right here in Troy, and is the pastor of Calvary Baptist Church right here in Troy. Hope you enjoyed our show today, and of course you can watch us again today at 1:30, and of course we've got a big cake sale tomorrow. Cake sale to raise money for one of the teams that are going to the state tournament, and we'll start that at 7 o'clock tomorrow. So great opportunity to buy some wonderful, wonderful cakes for the 4th of July.
Okay.
And of course, you'll be set up somewhere for the fireworks on the 4th, won't you?
Oh, we live out at China Grove, and we can actually, if the night's clear, we can see and hear from our front porch.
Exactly. Even from way out there where you live.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
Isn't that amazing? Can you see the fireworks?
When the ones that go up real high.
Yeah.
We
and he lives almost to Pine Level, don't you?
Well, no, China Grove.
China Grove.
Above Pine Level.
Well, let me just tell you one thing, and before we go off there. You know, they had already closed down the food yesterday, so I went on, drove on up to Red Schoolhouse, and I got 2 plates to go. Hey, and they weigh those plates. I mean, I like not to have enough money to get out of there. But I had peas, I had corn, I had chicken, I had rice, I had cornbread, and whoa, I had a great meal.
Oh, that was, I'm sure that they have great food over there.
No question about it.
Absolutely.
But we'll be eating at Sister's today. Jack, who's on the phone, he and I will be eating at Sister's restaurant today around 11 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock, if you want to come by and see us. Hope that you've enjoyed our show today. We'll see you tomorrow, bright and early, for Today in L.A.